This time on Rad Rat Video, we're reviewing Dave Mirra 2 on the GameCube. Let's do it. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel about skateboarding and skateboarding video games. Every now and then I branch off into related things like snowboarding or inline or BMX, which is what we're doing today, by playing Dave Mirra 2. This is a game that a lot of people suggested that I play because they really loved it back in the day. I didn't play this back in the day. I only played it recently, and I had some problems with it, so I kind of resented the game right off the bat because of this game. This is Thrasher Skate and Destroy for the PlayStation 1, which is a very flawed game. Honestly, not very good. If you haven't played it, going back to play it now is going to be rough. But it's very sim-like. It's the most realistic skateboarding game probably until the Skate series came out. You could argue that it's more realistic than Skate. But it died there. There was no Thrasher 2, there was no Thrasher 3. Why? Because the developer Z-Axis made Dave Mirra and then Dave Mirra 2. So Dave Mirra 2, which we're playing today, played Dave Mirra 1. You can check the review out right here if you want. Dave Mirra 2 could have been Thrasher 3, and I'll always kind of resent that it's not, because it's BMX and not skateboarding. And I like to watch the competitions, you know, the X Games and everything with the BMX and seeing the dirt jumps and people doing a 720 and the 360 backflips and stuff. I really like to watch BMX. When I'm playing a video game, BMX is worse. For obvious reasons, right? You're huge because you're on a bike, so you get stuck on stuff a lot more when you're trying to turn and navigate around in areas. If you end up going fakie by accident, you accidentally do like a 360 and a quarter pipe and land fakie. You turn around right as you're going up the other wall and come back down fakie, and you're just kind of stuck for a while. It's just more clunky and awkward than a skateboarding game. So I really wish Dave Mirra 2 was Thrasher 3. But I'm not going to hold it against it too much because I understand. There was a lot more competition in skateboarding. From a business perspective, it made a lot more sense to do something different, to get a slightly different market. So I will leave that there. But today I'm playing the GameCube version on my computer in an emulator. Reason is the PS2 version is not supposed to be as complete, and it's also harder to play on an emulator. It gets a lot more glitchy. So I don't know. There are some problems I'm going to have with the controls, as we're going to talk about. I don't know if that would have been there on the actual GameCube. I feel like it probably was, because it seems to play flawlessly. There's no weird glitches as far as, like, you know, stuff popping up in the emulator or anything like that. So I don't know for sure if some of the problems that I'm going to run into were in the original version of the game, but my guess is that they are. So let's go ahead and dive into it.
The first level, Woodward, is one of the worst levels in any action sports game. I hated it more than I can ever explain, but I'm going to do my best. Okay, so it might not be designed as badly as this level in Skateboard Madness, and it definitely doesn't break and crash like this game does, but seriously, I had a better time with this abomination than I did with Mirra. Just to make sure you all feel the misery correctly, keep in mind that this is a BMX game, which is already a huge step down from skateboarding games. You can't really ride fakie, so you have to plan out your spins, which is annoying. Some of the tricks take a lot longer than different ones, so it's not like a nose grab versus a tail grab. A turn down and a backflip are totally different. So it ends up feeling a lot more clunky. You tend to stick to the same few tricks that you know as you play. Overall, the game doesn't feel terrible, but it makes everything annoying. But the big problem with this level is everything. It looks exactly the same no matter where you look, and it's way bigger than it should be. I don't think I've ever complained about a level being too big, but when you're on a single timer, Tony Hawk 2 style, there's a limit to how much area you can search for stuff. The fact that it all looks the same, with just generic ramps and plain warehouses, it makes it really hard to keep track of where you are and where you've been. The first thing you have to do is get 10,000 points. Not a big deal. But nothing happens when you do. You have to back out of the level and start it again to get the rest of the challenges. Kind of weird, kind of annoying, and every level starts like this. I think it's meant to give you a chance to get to know the level before it tells you what to do in it, but if so, that's stupid and pointless, like me playing this game 19 years late. The challenges you get are mostly simple and stuff you would expect at this point. Do the big transfer gap, clear the trail jumps. The game earned some points here with me because they actually mark the stuff they want you to gap by making them glow. There are more dirt jumps around the level than just these, so it's pretty nice. But then there's this one, knock over 4 ladders. No big deal, right? But the really big level, incredibly repetitive level design, and the awkward controls make this unreasonably difficult. I ended up spending about a half hour looking for these ladders. I found them all, but not in the same run. Eventually I started trying to figure out an exact path so I could get the first 3 and then spend the rest of the time searching for the 4th one. It didn't help. I eventually had to look up a GameFAQs walkthrough from 2001 to have it tell me exactly where to go. And it was still hard to keep track of which featureless warehouse I was supposed to go to. A map on the pause menu would have been a game changer. But yeah, 10 minutes into the game, I'm looking at a strategy guide. To be fair though, I'm terrible at finding things, both finding things in games and finding meaning and happiness in real life, but it gets worse. You unlock challenges in blocks of 4. 3 are actually visible, and 1 is a mystery that you have to talk to somebody to unlock. Who do you talk to? Shut up, don't worry about it. It's somebody somewhere, you have to find him, asshole. The worst challenge in this level, and probably the whole game, is this one. Grind these certain rails for 525 feet. Which is an oddly specific number. You might think they maybe add up to that number. They don't, but that's the least of our problems at this point. First of all, the grinds are really clunky. In Tony Hawk, you snap to a rail if you're reasonably close to it. In this one, it feels like your pegs have to actually intersect with the rail before it'll lock you into a grind. I've glanced off of rails where it really feels like I should have locked in. But that's just problem number 1. The next problem is transferring to the next rail. How do you do that? I have no idea. You might think that holding left when you jump would make you transfer left. Guess again, idiot, that doesn't do anything. So I thought maybe it was having to be off balance to the left, but that clearly isn't it either. So how do you transfer between these rails? Absolute pure luck. I have no clue. But don't worry, there's a workaround. I looked it up, and the game only cares that you start on these rails. You can land in a manual and still do it all in the same combo and it'll count. But guess what? The manuals only work if you cross 2 fingers, 8 toes, and a ray of light from the moon touches your controller and blesses it at the right moment. In theory, you hit down down to manual and up up to nose manual, but it works maybe 1 in 10 times. So to avoid the random luck of transferring, I have to attempt to randomly land in a manual. Over and over again, I hit the down button twice and nothing happens. It seems to work better if you hold down after the second push, but that doesn't mean anything. Maybe you can't land in a manual if your bike is pitched up, but it doesn't tell you that. Like, how am I supposed to know that? But okay, that's fine. Let's just split the difference. I'll try to transfer, and I'll put in the input for a manual. If I hit the transfer, I'll land in an ice pick grind. If I miss, I'll land in a manual. Well, guess again, bitch. If you're ready to land in a manual and you hit the rail, you bail. Why? Because you landed awkwardly. What does that mean? It means nothing. The game hates you. And here's something else you get to enjoy. You're still on a timer. This isn't a separate challenge that you can retry like in Tony Hawk 4, so you have to ride all the way back every time you bail and start over. So the chances of you grinding to the end of this are essentially nil. No matter how perfect you are, you'll bounce off of something or the manual just won't work or whatever. But I eventually got lucky. With a couple of manuals, I got to the end of the rails, but it was only 430 feet. I need almost 100 more. So I land in manual, luckily, but the only rails in sight are these, which I couldn't even get to. This is the first level of the game. If I didn't get so lost on the stupid ladders, this would be about a half hour in, and it's essentially impossible.
Is the whole game this bad? Not really, but the level design still needs some work. Every level is very easy to get lost in because it's so generic. There's a level where you're supposed to do a manual on Jefferson Street. Which street is Jefferson Street? I have no idea. So there's a lot of stuff like that, but the challenges do get a lot better.
The next level is at a train yard. It's not bad. You have to break some windows. There's a part of the floor that breaks for no reason just to mix things up. It's fine. The clunkiness really got to me here though. You can get stuck on the tracks really easily because it's so hard to transfer out. It's happened to me constantly. Oh, and here's a fun challenge. I found this guy who wanted me to do a transfer from bulldozer to bulldozer, and then, yeah, and good luck figuring how to get back there when you fall. But there is a bit of fun here. I do like the grind system in general, just not the transferring. There isn't a balance meter, and it isn't as hard to balance as a Tony Hawk game, but it feels good and authentic in a way, assuming you can get it to lock in. The next level is pretty cool. It's a forest dirt track with some bridges and stuff. It's super easy to get lost, of course, because it's all trees and logs, even those bridges look identical to each other. And a few of the challenges are just grind some branches. And it's tough to find them, but I will give you a trick. When you get close to a challenge you can do, the text for it will pop up on the screen. This was a really good design idea. I relied on it quite a bit, just wandering around randomly until I got lucky and got close enough that it appeared on the screen. Of course, finding the challenge is only half the battle, or maybe a little bit more. I just can't tell you how lost I got in this game, but the branches are tough. I never actually got this one because the game doesn't have transfers. I tried it fast, I tried it slow, tried it leaning, holding directional buttons, nothing, but you already know how that goes. The last level I got to is this dump. I hate it here, and it finally broke me. We'll get to that in a second. One of the worst challenges is that you have to jump over the glowing cop car. For some reason, they put 2 cop cars in this level. Really? Do they hate me? In the first level, there is this glowing rail in the skate park for no reason. In this one, the text came up when I was around the non-glowing cop car, so maybe it's a mistake or a glitch or something, I don't know. Finding a way to jump over this cop car is tough, but maybe if I follow it down here, I'll drive past a ramp or something. Oh, come on. Tricked me into leaving the level. Why is this in the game? After finding the wrong car and jumping it a few times, I finally found the one that was glowing. Is it random or something? I don't know, but this one is really the least of my worries. The next few challenges are impossible. First, I have to vert transfer all the way over the pedestrian pathway. I tried this quite a bit, and I couldn't really even get close. Oh wait, I've got some speed here, maybe I'll... Oh, JK lolling, you got too close to the guy and triggered the speech bubble again. But realistically, I don't think I would have made that attempt anyway. This other one is weird. So earlier, I had to break through these awnings. It's tough. Getting the height isn't that bad, but hitting this weird quarter pipe and landing back on it is a challenge. But now I have to do the set of awnings that's a whole story higher. In my last attempt, it's barely even on screen.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure at this point that the only way for me to continue in the game is to get the next level bike. Your character does not have stats. The bikes that you can get have stats, and you unlock them by playing the game more. That's all it says. It doesn't say you need to get more XP. It doesn't say you need to complete more challenges specifically, or get gaps, or unlock more levels. It doesn't say how you get the bikes, you just get them later. I think it's XP though, because that's right on screen next to it, so it would make sense. And for me to unlock XP, I need to beat more of the challenges, which means going back to
this one. I skipped this one, the branch one, and there's one mystery one where I never found the right person to talk to. But guess what? It didn't magically get any easier. I got miraculously close on my second try, but I didn't quite get it. And then I tried it for about a half an hour and never got close again. I still can't land in the manual consistently. I still haven't figured out how to transfer from rail to rail with any kind of consistency either. And you know what? I have no idea if this is going to unlock the next bike anyway.
Now, you can get more XP from finding gaps. Every level has about 10 to 15 gaps that you can do where you'll get some XP for doing them, and it keeps track of how many you've done per level. But the thing is, they're blind. You just kind of ride around randomly. You're on a timer still. Every now and then when you do something, it'll count as a gap. And I really don't have the patience to just experiment and try that for hours and just hope that it gives me enough XP to get a bike. Again, not even knowing whether that's how it works. So I decided not to go that route. But what's my final review of the game? It's okay. So if you played this back in the day and you liked it, it's probably going to feel a lot better to you than it did to me playing it brand new for the first time. But even so, comparing it to Tony Hawk 3, which is what came out around the same time, it's not good. So, when you have to find things in the game, but you can't move the camera around and look, that's really frustrating. In Tony Hawk 3, it shows you a little clip of the thing you're supposed to do. You might have a pretty vague thing in your challenges. It'll say like, clear the lines, but when you start the level, it shows you a clip of the lines with branches on them next to the satellite dish, and you grind those off, and that's the challenge. In Dave Mirra, it just says something, and you wander around for a while until the name pops up, then you look around in that area, and maybe you'll see something glowing. It's just a lot more clunky, and I think that's really the word for this game, is just awkward and clunky. So if you loved it back in the day, it's probably fine. If you haven't played it before, I wouldn't bother. And unfortunately, this game did not really get a sequel to polish further. It sort of did, though. So there was plans for Dave Mirra 3. Instead, they decided to go M-rated, and they made BMX XXX, or XXX, which is a M-rated, nudity-filled game with BMX bikes, which I've always wanted to play. I want to play it a little bit less now after having played this one, and I think I will. I'm not going to put it on this channel, though, because of, you know, censorship and all that kind of stuff. But if you follow my Patreon, you will eventually see a video of me playing that. I may put it on a separate burner channel or something like that, but I do want to play that. It won't make a review of the channel, though, because of YouTube censorship reasons. But yeah, stay tuned for that one. But yeah, aside from that, it's just okay. So that's it for now. Stay tuned for more game reviews, mostly skateboarding, although every now and then I do some weird stuff. I'm maybe in the mood for a snowboarding one this winter. We'll see. There's quite a few I haven't gotten to yet. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any game reviews coming up soon. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching.